We've got GAŠPER KAMENŠek. He's a BI expert, Excel and Power BI trainer, and a Microsoft MVP for Excel at Excel Olympics. He'll be showing us the full cycle of data with the Power Platform. This session is going to take us through the creation of a form to gather data. Then we'll be using Power Automate to push that data into Power BI Live. Then we'll also use Power BI to connect to the original Excel file that the form is populating. Finishing off, we'll create a Power App that will enable us to change the data, which will allow us to change the data set straight from Power BI and therefore complete the circle. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, my name is GAŠPER KAMENŠek. This is me coming in from the past because it's pre-recorded. If all goes according to plan, I'm in the chat somewhere. So if you have any questions, just write it in the chat and I'll answer. But anyway, today I would like to talk to you about full circle of data with the Power Platform. Probably a D too much there, but so, you know, with data, right, and with analysis and reporting, it's always like we need to grab some data, we need to do something to it, and then we need to report on it. And this is usually, you know, the way we understand it. This is actually the definition of Power BI, right? It's grab the data, do something with it, and create reports. So do something with it would be Power Query and Power Pivot. So create a model and, you know, transform it the way you want it, but then build a report, right? But what if I wanted to somehow give a report in a way, so here's the analysis, right? And here is a way that you can actually influence the input data right from the report. So to sort of complete the circle, right? And that is something I want to talk about today. So today I'm going to talk about the Power Platform, which would be your Power BI, Power Apps, and Microsoft Flow, which is now Power Automate, and with a little sprinkle of Microsoft Forms, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, which is all, you know, in Office 365, right? And using those four, we're going to, you know, kind of show the interaction that's always been, well, even 6 years ago would be mind-boggling, right? When Power BI didn't even exist, or was that 8 years ago? Well, you know, when Power BI didn't exist, this would be mind-boggling, and not just because of Power BI per se, but everything. How do I create a form that people can fill out an Excel workbook, right? How can I connect to that Excel workbook live and then have analysis and all that? Well, this is what we're going to be talking about in this session. Now, not to get ahead of myself, so my name is GAŠPER KAMENŠek, and I really need to tell you this, not just because of Liam. So I'm Microsoft Excel MVP, have been so for 6 or 7 years, and I come from the only country in the world that has the word love in the name, and that is Slovenia. And I do lots of conferences. That is how I met Liam. He first invited me to the Australian conference, and then I invited him for the Slovenian conference, right? And we met in Amsterdam and all that. So, and Tim, right? Okay, anyways, so this is me. This is my newsletter. This is my YouTube channel. I'm sure you're all watching it. And from here on out, this will just be a lesson in Office 365, all right? No more PowerPoint. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the simplest of, you know, kind of ways to fill out an Excel workbook. And I need a way so that anyone in the world can fill my Excel workbook. But the Excel workbook should be in my OneDrive, right? So the way I do this is I actually don't start from a form, which is kind of funny, but I don't. I start from OneDrive, right? And here's the 11th wonder of the world, which didn't go according to plan. So let me create one more, right? And what I do is I say a new Forms for Excel. So Forms for Excel, and for the sake of it, let's call this the 12th wonder of the world, right? So I'm going to create, and it creates two things. It creates a workbook in the location that I was at in my OneDrive for business. And it also creates a forms, which right off the bat can fill data into that Excel workbook. Now let's add a couple of questions. So let's first go choice. So which topic is your favorite? And let's say Excel is number 1. And then it already says probably you want Word, probably you want OneNote. That's cool. And let's add another one. Let's add Power BI for the sake of it, like this. And if somebody likes something else, let's just add the other option, but this is just as well. It is required, no multiple answers. And then we're going to go for two fields that will actually make a lot more sense, and that is number fields, right? So I'm going to go rating, and I'm going to say rate your Excel knowledge. It's going to be 1 through 10, and it's going to be a number, and it will be required, right? And let's add another one. Rate your Power BI knowledge. Right, it will be more or less the same thing. So a number to 10, and it is required, right? So this is all we have. This is our form. Let's make it like fancy. There you go, right? And now this form can actually fill out this Excel workbook. And this form, mind you, I could say collect responses and share this with anyone in the world with a QR code, with a mail, with the link, with embedding this into a SharePoint site or any site or Team site, whatever, right? But I'm not going to go that far, so I'm going to say, okay, let's preview this and let's just test it out. So let's say my preferred topic is Excel, and I think I'm very good in Excel. I'm not going to go 10, right? Nobody's 10. God is 10 or something like that. And Power BI, let's call it an 8 because they do updates every month. And let's submit that. And what just happened is, way here I can see my responses. I got 1 and la la la. But I could also go into my OneDrive, go into this one and say, well, let's see what we've got. And we actually have a line of response. I started at this time, I completed at this time, and these were my responses. So Excel knowledge 9, Power BI knowledge 8. Alright, so this is my form. This is my form. This is something that I can use so that anyone can fill out that Excel. Right? And now that I have that, now let's go into Power BI. And let's start as simple as we can, right? Let's say we're going to go to demo. We're going to say get data. And we're going to grab that file, right? So we're going to grab OneDrive for Business. We're going to go test, and we're going to go the 12th wonder of the world. We're going to connect to it, and we're actually going to import that Excel. Now, I could connect to a workbook, whereas in Power BI, I would actually show it as Excel Online, so it would be a live view of the workbook, which is cool if you have slicers and pivot tables and stuff like that. But I'm just going to go import data, which is the way we usually do it, right, in Power BI. So I'm going to go import data. And now I have the 12th wonder of the world, right? And that is a data set that I now have connected to that. And from here, I can say, cool, now I want to build a report from this, right? So let me go like this. And let's say I want to create a report. Now there's only one table, right? That's all we have. And let's go with topic, right? So we have our topic and we have our rate your Excel and rate your Power BI. Now both of those, now sure, I should write measures, but because I want a simple average, I'm not gonna bother. And because I won't do, you know, like a year to date and any conditional things, I'm not planning to build on my measures, which you should always do, right? You should never use implicit measures. You should always use explicit measures, write your own and build upon them. But I'm just going to go like this for this presentation. So we have these two, and then let me also create two cards. They will both do the same thing. So the first one will be the Excel knowledge, again, the average of, and then I'm just going to do a copy of this, whereas in this one, I'm going to do the other one. So the Power BI and like this. All right. So this is now my report that I have in Power BI connected to that Excel, which can be filled with the forms by anyone in this world, right? Which is way cool. If this session was live, that would be way cooler because I could actually give you the link and then you would all be filling out and all these would change, right? But now we get to an interesting part of this because, well, sometimes, right, you're doing analysis on data that is, let's call it old, although that is not a nice way of calling things. But you know, you say, well, all I'm interested is previous month, previous quarter, like accounting. That's the perfect one, right? I don't even care about this month until the 15th of next month, right? When everything is done and I can actually trust the numbers or something like that. So usually we do that, but sometimes we do things when we're actually interested in the now, right? If I'm measuring a temperature in a server room or a temperature in a lorry that is driving medicine, right? I'm interested in the temperature right now. I don't care what the average temperature was previous month. I care about what the temperature is right now because that allows me to react, to do something, right? And what we can do here is we can do something pretty much amazing because we can say, you know what? I have a forms and I know that form is filling out my Excel. That works, no problem, right? I have that right here. But then now I also have a Power BI workspace. So what if my forms was able to somehow say, I'm going to write data into your Excel, but I'm also going to send data directly to Power BI, right? And when you say live, so live sending of data, that is called a streaming data set. And if I showed you, so the way I would set this up would be something like this. I would use Microsoft Power Automate, which most people know as Flow, Microsoft Flow. Well, now it's called Power Automate, and that is simply due to the fact that it's part of the Power, so the Power Trio, which is Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate, right? So this allows you, so Power Automate is one of the most brilliant things in Office 365. It allows you to touch any part of Office 365 and it allows you to touch things externally like Salesforce, like Gmail, like, so anything you want actually, and then automate your actions with it. So you could say, when I get an email, which I get every month from this and this person, right? And it has a PDF in it. Grab that PDF. I want you to save it to OneDrive. Send an email to this person so that he will check it. And if he approves it, I want you to also send that into a SharePoint site, a Teams site, and also save it into Google Drive while you're at it, right? That is Power Automate. That is, that is what we always needed. That was workflows in SharePoint once upon a time. They still exist, but this is so much more because it can touch anything, right? And what I'm going to say now is, I have a form in Microsoft Forms, and I want you to grab the response from that form, and I want you to send it to Power BI. Now, we're going to run into some issues, and we're going to solve them as they come. But basically, what you usually do is with Power Automate, you just start by searching if the thing you want to do already exists. So basically, what I want is Forms and Power BI. That is what I want to connect, kind of, right? And then what you're looking for are templates. So is there a template that suits me? And there is one here that doesn't really suit me because it says add rows to dataset in Power BI, which is brilliant. But then it says after approval on Microsoft Forms. So just to show you, I'm going to select this one, but we're going to have to revamp it all the way. So let's select this one. It's now going to connect to all three of the services down here. Once it does that, so it connects, you get check marks, and now you can say continue, right? Now, basically, what it does is exactly what we said, right? So when a new response is submitted to a form, get response details from that form, and then I want you to start an approval. Now, this is where I don't want an approval. I just want to send it to Power BI. So we're going to skip this part, but let's go step by step. So let's say when the form goes to the 12th wonder of the world, I want you to grab that form and get the response, right? And then it says start an approval. Well, I don't want you to start an approval, but here's the problem, right? This one says I'm going to start an approval, and then we're going to have conditions, and if the conditions, so if the approval is yes, then I'm going to add rows to the data set. Now the problem is, once I delete this, so I'm going to say I don't need an approval, so just remove it. And I don't need conditions, I have no conditions, just delete this. Now it deleted the whole thing. So I need to actually create a new step, and I'm going to go add rows, and I need to add rows to Power BI, and I'm going to add rows to a data set. Now this is where things get kind of tricky. So the first thing it asks me is, what's your workspace? Well, my workspace is demo, no problem there. And then it says which data set. And now it has a data set called form responses, but that is not the correct one. Let me explain. So within my Power BI, within my demo, let me save this report. Let's call it report 1. So if I go to my demo workspace, you're going to see lots and lots of things, but the interesting one now is the form responses here, right? And what is that? Well, it's a data set, but it's actually an interesting data set. You can see that it kind of differs from a normal data set in a sense that it has this almost like a signal icon, right, from your cell phone. And what that means is this is a streaming data set. And usually you don't have streaming data sets in your Power BI workspaces. Usually you need to set them up, right? So let me set up a data set. Let me show you how. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, I need a new what? A new streaming data set, right? Basically what you're saying is, I want you to build me a table, right? I'm going to tell you what the columns are and what the types of data are. And then you're going to allow me to fill data into that table, right? So a streaming data set says, where are you going to be streaming from, right? And I'm just going to say, you know what, just create an API. Now, what do you want to call this data set? Well, I'm going to call it 12th Wonder. And here it says, what are your values from the stream? So what am I expecting to get? Well, you're expecting a topic, and that is text. And then you're expecting Excel knowledge, right? And that one will be a number. And then you're expecting a Power BI knowledge. And that one will also be a number. Now you can see that there's not lots of types here. You have text, you have number, you have date and time, right? But usually it's good enough, right? So what this also gives you is an ability to say, and I just don't want you to save like the last row that it sent. I want you to enable me to do historic data analysis on that, right? So that table should fill up all the time. You should have the knowledge of what the last row is, but if I want to look at the last 10 minutes of data, you should allow me to do that. So that is what historical data analysis does. So the 12 Wonder, and this is now my new streaming data set. I'm going to create it, right? And as soon as I do that, I get this push URL. Now that is because we chose an API, right? So this tells me, look, if you do this, right, in your curl or whatever, this is gonna push so this free pieces of data into that data set. Actually, this would be my curl, so this would do it. And then you also have a PowerShell and all that. So we're not going to do any of that, but those are things that I could use if I was building an app to now push data live into that table. But I don't need an app because I'm in Office 365 and I already have forms. So now I want to show you that I got a new, let me just find it. So a new streaming data set called the 12th Wonder. See it here, right? Right now it's empty, but we already have a flow that is saying, look, what's your workspace and what is the data set? So let me refresh this and I'm hoping it's not gonna lose everything. It shouldn't. Well, it did. Let's start again. So let's say it will be the 12th Wonder, and you should use that 12th Wonder. And now I'm gonna delete all of this. I'm gonna delete this. Yeah, I just did this so we do it again so you know how it's done. So I'm gonna add a row into my Power BI, add a row to a data set. My workspace is demo. My data set is the 12th Wonder, right? And now it's saying which table. Well, there's only one table in that data set, right? That is real-time data. And now that I selected a table, not that I had, much choices there, now it's reading from that table. So these are the free columns that you have in that table. Now it's saying, well, what do you want to push into those columns? And here, this step is really important, right? Because here I collected the response details. So now if I go to topic, it's going to say, which of those response details do you want here? And I'm saying topic. What do you want here? I want rate your Excel knowledge. So whatever was the response to that question. Over here, rate your Power BI knowledge, right? So this is now Power Automate that is going to grab the response as a new response arrives, not only save it to that Excel, because keep in mind, if it saves it to that Excel, all good, but my Power BI still needs to refresh to get that data in. Whereas I also created this Power Automate, which is going to push that data directly into Power BI. So I'm going to save this. And I'm just going to go through the flow checker. It should, yeah, okay. And I'm going to test it. So I'm going to test it manually because that's the only way you can. And I'm going to go back here, preview. I'm going to say Power BI. Let me give myself a 10 and an 8 and submit. And let's see what we've got here. No, sorry, here. Right? So the flow ran successfully. It took 1 second, which is fine, you know. But here's what I got. So in Power BI now, right? Now I have the 12 Wonder of the World data set. And on that data set, I have a report built. And that report is, where is it? Is this one. It's report 1, which is the one we did before, right? But now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to say, now I want a new dashboard, right? And dashboards, let's call this the 12th Wonder of the World. No idea why D is capital, but let's do it this way, right? The dashboards in Power BI, you know, they're not the most popular thing in the world, with some very good arguments why not, particularly because all the filters are sticky and that gives you problems. But they do enable you to do some crazy things. First one being, you can grab things from multiple reports or multiple data sets and show them in the same, right? So basically in one dashboard. And here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add something to this dashboard. And we're going to do it like this. I'm going to say, well, not like this. Let me just go back here. And let me find the 12th Wonder of the World. Okay, and now I'm going to edit and I'm going to add a tile to it. Right? And the tile I'm going to add will be a very special one because it will be a custom streaming data tile. Right? I'm going to say next. And here's what I'm going to say. I want you to give me a 12 Wonder. That's my data set, right? The one that I want you to collect or actually show from. And I want you to first create a card. And the card will be as simple as it gets. Just give me Excel knowledge, right? So that is the latest response. And then I'm going to say next. And I'm going to say Excel knowledge live. Apply. Right? And then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to say add a tile. Custom streaming data. Next. 12 Wonder. Next. And now I want you to give me Power BI knowledge. Right? Power BI knowledge live. Apply. Right? So this already looks like something very, very nice. But let me show you when it gets really, really nice. So let me try to push this out here. And let me try and push this out here. And let me go to this one, submit another response. So now let's go for OneNote. And if I'm a OneNote user, I'm good in Excel and I'm pretty good in Power BI. Submit, and there you go. Saw that? Now the Power BI didn't need to refresh from the Excel workbook. It could have, right? But if I show you, so let me bring this one back in. which seems to be very hard now. Okay, if I show you the, so first, if I show you this one, right? This one now has at least 3 rows. It has 2 rows for no apparent reason. Oh, it's still waiting on the OneNote. Okay, let's see if it refreshes. Yeah, there it goes. So we got the OneNote line, right? So these are the 3 responses. But if I now go to Power BI, if I go to my demo workspace, and if I show you my report, right, that one is still only aware of my first response, right? And it's only if I now did a, so if I go demos and find my 12 wonder of the world data set, say that I want to refresh that one. So let me see, like this. And now go back to this one. Okay. So obviously it needs more time. There you go, right? Now I have those, and I can actually, here's the interesting part, right? Because I have my my dashboard, I can now pin all of these to the same dashboard, right? There it is. So this one dashboard now has some live data and some data that's going to refresh when it refreshes. So yeah, I just clicked there. All I wanted to do was move this here. Right? And now I'm going to create one more tile. So one more custom streaming data. And this one's going to be a bit special. So it's still going to be the 12th wonder. But now I want you to do a clustered bar chart. Now the legend should be the topic, right? And the values should be Excel knowledge. Now here's where it gets interesting. And I want you to show me that for the last 5 minutes. Did you see how now there are 2 before it was only 1? Because it only showed the 1 minute, right? I'm going to go next. I'm going to give it a title. So I actually like the title that it has. So Excel knowledge by topic live. I'm going to apply that. And now let's try to do what we did before. Right? Let's go back to this one. And let's say, let's do Word now. So Word people are usually not too friendly with Excel, so let's give it a 6. And with Power BI, probably somewhere in the same region, right? And now the live is 6, and this one just got a word in. No pun intended, right? And this is so brilliant, right? Now these haven't even refreshed yet, but they will in time, right? But they enable me to view that at the same time. So that is the power of the Power Platform so far. But I said in the beginning, and it is the title of my entire presentation, the full circle of this. Where does the full circle come from? Where the full circle comes from here. Because right now we just have one way of getting data into Power BI and then another one which is way cooler, but yeah, that's all we have. But now I could say, well, what if I wanted a way that I could interact with this Excel workbook, but not, not in a sense that I need to open up OneDrive, find it, open it, and all that. What if I wanted to create an app that can do that? Well, why don't we do that? So we're going to create an app with an application called Power Apps. Now, Power Apps, you know, is brilliant. It's been sort of way undersold and way oversold. It's been undersold in the sense that it's like Excel and PowerPoint together, right? It's not. It's not as easy as it looks. You need to know stuff. It's also one of those where you need a pro license to do something more, like connect to SQL. But basically, right, this app enables you to do this, to say, so look, I have data. Where do you have your data? Well, I have it in an Excel file. And now it's going to say, well, okay, where is that Excel file? I'm going to say in my OneDrive for Business. It's going to say, well, where in your OneDrive for Business? It's right here, and it's right in this table. Right? And if I now connect to that, crazy things happen, because right off the bat, I'm going to get an application that can read and write from that Excel and into that Excel, right? So this should amaze you. Now, basically what I'm thinking right now is everything is blank. It probably has problems. Let me see if it will have problems. Yes, it will. Now, keep in mind, it's not a big deal, right? This sort of even makes sense. Right, just to clarify, it sort of makes sense because you see it's writing into Excel that is now being written in from forms, and I also had it opened up there, so it's probably locked right now. But we all know with SharePoint, right, which is OneDrive for Business and Teams and whatever, everything is on SharePoint. Multiple users, and I'm using users here just for a reason, can write into that Excel at the same time, which means as I'm writing into that Excel and as Forms is writing into that Excel as a Forms user, whatever, this can also write into that Excel, right? The only thing is it's locked, so it cannot show me the details now. But what I'm going to say is basically this has three windows: the browse screen, the detail screen, where it's detailing one of those, and then the edit screen, right? Now, the edit screen is the brilliant one where you say, give me the details. Oh, somebody gave a 1 to Excel. No, we're going to fix that. We just say edit right here with this pencil, and we can edit it. And now let me show you. So basically on the browse screen, I'm going to say, yeah, okay, give me the email of a person. That's not going to help me much. And then I want you to give me a topic of that reply, right? And then I also want you to give me what was it? Your Excel knowledge rating. Let's start with that, right? We could go for another one, and that one would be your Power BI knowledge and whatever. But basically, I want to stop right here. This will be my application. Let me see how it would work, and let me create one so you're going to see that it actually does what it's supposed to. I'm going to go, topic is going to be, let's go OneNote. Rate your Excel knowledge 7. Rate your Power BI knowledge 9. Right? And there it goes. I have it now. Now, if I show you here, this one, right, because multiple users can write into it, just got a OneNote 7 and a 9. See? So I didn't, break any rules by doing that. I can do that. This Power App can write into it. But the greatest thing is, it doesn't just allow me to write into it and then view the details. It also allows me to edit that. So I can say, no, this really should be 8, right? There you go. Oh, now I have it open. Now it's really ran into problems. So let's try again. There you go. Okay. So basically, with these 3 clicks, I created an app that can read from that Excel and write into that Excel. If I now save this, and let's call it 12th Wonder App. Okay, now I have it, right? I don't think I need another one, so let's go like this. Now this is starting to freak me out. Let's see. This looks fine. Let's save it again. No, it's saved. Okay, I think we got it. But here's what we can do now. Now we can go to our report, right? It's a simple report which we created in Power BI, right? And I can say I want to edit this report. And now I can add to this report a Power App. There it is, right? And now basically this is not going to do anything until you tell it what you're expecting to gain from it. And I'm going to say, well, these are the fields that I want you to kind of recognize, right? So topic, and then rate your Excel knowledge and rate your Power BI knowledge. And I want you to choose an app for that. And it's a 12 Wonder app. I want you to add it. There it is. Right? And here is something amazing, right? This app, let me just, there you go. This app now shows me the latest responses, right? But I can take any one of those. So here I have, I think Power BI was only used once, right? So it's 10 is this one. Let me go into it. So this is what, here are the details, right? I'm reading straight from that Excel. But now I can also say, well, I want you to edit that. And I want you to give Power BI a 10. Let's go. Right? And straight from Power BI, I just wrote into that Excel workbook. Now this one doesn't reflect it right away. Why doesn't it? Well, because this one actually needs to refresh, right? So if I go back to my, let's save that. And here's the one that we need. So let's refresh that. And then we go back to our report. And let's refresh that. All right, the problem here is we're sort of in a very tricky, space similar to this conference where I'm talking from the past, you're listening in the future, and yet I'm over there speaking to you in the chat. We have data that is coming from Excel. But it's coming with a lag because it's dependent on the refresh, scheduled refreshes, which we have. Back there, we also have live data streaming, which, is awesome, right? So let me do that one more time because that is my favorite part of this demo. So if I go here, go to demo and go to the 12 Wonder of the World. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right, if I go here, and let me show it to you like this. And if I now, and let me do another one. Let me just do one more tile here, because you're going to love this one. I'm going to add a tile with a custom streaming data set with the 12 Wonder. And let's do a line chart. We could also do a legend of a topic. Not the best probably, but let's do it. And then Excel knowledge. and I want you to display like 5 minutes worth of data. Next. And let's just apply. Right? And now, if I put this to the side, like that, and go probably here. Oh, I can also go here. Now let me make that tiny, like this. And let me submit another response. So I'm going to go Excel 9. It really doesn't matter what I give this one because it's only picking the Excel up right now. So now those two should fly in. And I'm going to submit another response, which will be Power BI 8.7, or actually 8.9. Submit. So this one knows about it. These two seem shy. Let me see if I need to refresh this. Yeah, so the problem I'm having here, and it's a kind of a strange issue to have, is that Power BI does refresh your dashboards, but only if they're active windows. Right? And as this one is now not the active browser window, it's thinking you're not looking at this, so it doesn't refresh live. If it would, this would be the most brilliant thing you've ever seen, right? Because it would sort of live feed you all this data. Okay, now having said that, this, right? This is now our circle of data complete, right? So in one single workspace, we have a data set connected to our Excel, which is fed from the forms. That is shown on a report, right? On this report. And then we also created a streaming data set, which we're feeding live from forms. So live, right? Live feeding. And then, because these are now two separate data sets, we're showing them on a single dashboard, which we can, right? But then we did another thing right here on this report. We added one more thing, and that is a Power App, which has the ability to write and edit. So it can add new stuff and it can edit old stuff in my Excel workbook. And this one I could also pin to my dashboard. So now if I go here, I sort of have everything in one single place. Let me remove this one so I can put this one up here. Well, that doesn't look so good. So probably it's opened again. Let me see where that went. Oh, it's not even opened. So this is kind of, walking on the line because everything is happening at the same time, and it's kind of a, but again, this is brilliant, right? This is brilliant. And this truly is, right, a very simple example of what I was talking about, and that is the circle of data complete. Right? And now the stage is yours. So I'm probably somewhere up there, down there, somewhere hovering around, ready to take questions. So if you have questions, write them in the chat. If you want to get in touch with me, here are my contact information. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can shoot an email. And let's get in touch. Okay. And either way, I'm responding to the questions. But I want to thank you for listening. I hope you got some crazy ideas from this. And I'll see you on the next one.
All right, hi Gashper. I don't think we've
Hey.
got any new questions in right now. Just checking that.
Yeah, I saw one, but it was just that's so cool. It's not really a
Yeah,
question,
so
but it's a good comment.
nice to hear at least.
Yeah.
I guess what I've got for you then in the meantime is I'm curious. I mean, obviously that was quite impressive what you made there. But is there anything else that's getting out there quite wild that you've used Power Automate for? Because I'd love to hear about that.
So to me, the greatest, and it's not even new in a sense, is that now you have Power Automate not just in the cloud, and you also have the desktop version. So you can automate literally stuff on your computer with the desktop version, and then the cloud version and your desktop version can talk to each other. Now that opens up, literally sky is the limit, or the clouds are the limit.
Horrible. I've just seen another one come in on the Q&A, which is there any delayed time between the form is filled and the chart being refreshed?
Are we talking about the live streaming?
I assume so, because the other ones would need a data refresh to
Okay,
trigger that,
so
wouldn't it?
the live streaming you saw. So every time you run the flow, it takes a certain amount of time, and you saw that my flow took 1 second, so that would be your delay time. Whereas that's it. That's as soon as it appears in the table, in the streaming datasets table, it's already on your dashboard. There's no delay there. So it's as long as it takes for your Power Automate or whatever you're using to send it to that streaming data set.
Nice. And if there's no other questions coming in, I'll just leave you with where can we hear more from you? I know you showed it at the end, but if you want to plug them again, go for it.
Well, anywhere. What's the next one? It's Bulgarian Excel Days. I think it's in less than a month. So see you there, and you can check out my YouTube channel and see you everywhere. And Tim, are we doing this live next year?
Don't know if Tim's still with us right now.
I don't think he is. I thought he was in the middle.
I see him
Liam
there,
said
yeah.
he's leaving. Ah, okay. So maybe you can make an executive decision and say next year this will be live. And they're gonna
I don't
love
think I
you.
can make that call right now, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, well, thank you very much for your presentation and your time.
Yeah, sure. And good luck to the
Okay.
next one. Who's next?
I think we've got, who we got next? We've got Henk up next with how to become a DAX master.
Oh, Hank, break a leg. Okay. Guys, thank you for organizing this. Amazing. And good luck with the conference.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. All right, once again, I'll bring up the QR code and the bit.ly link for you where you can leave any feedback on this. Thank you.